Hello, everybody. If you are making a transition from Autodesk Inventor into Fusion 360, you're going to find that a lot of the icons are quite the same. But I want to take a few minutes and let's go over some of the things that are a little bit different that might trip you up if you're trying to make the transition. One of the first and biggest things, and it was a stumbling block for me, is how to properly set up relationships between parts and pieces and all of that thing. You're going to notice across the top of the screen here. All right, we've got our create sketch icon just like we did before, and you will be using that. And then of course your extrude and revolve commands, hole, pattern, all of that thing. Make sure you make full use of the drop-down menus. Just about everything that you had inside of Inventor is in here, okay? In the modify tab, again, lots of different things that you've seen. Press pull is probably a new one. Fillet and chamfer are there. Shell is a convenient feature if you want to make something hollow. Draft we'll talk about in a little bit. That's a new function that I don't believe Inventor uses innately when you extrude. And of course, other different things that are in here, and you can look through them. If you're going to change the color or appearance, you're going to be using physical material or appearance. And that's slightly different too, but it's not hard to grasp. The big change for us is going to be an assemble. Instead of making an assembly, assemble is innate into the project. And I'll talk about a few of the things that you're going to run into with that. One of the biggest tricks is how you use components as opposed to what we knew as parts. All right. And if you haven't used them yet, hopefully you are learning to use offset planes and that's going to be very, very important for what we're going to do in here. So let's jump into it. If I'm going to start a new project, which I have, you're going to notice I have untitled right up here at the top of the screen. My suggestion is let's go ahead and save that right away. So you can either use your file and do a save, okay, or just click the disk. So we're going to click the disk. Location is important. All right, choose a project that's like the mother or the carrier for this. So I'm going to create down here at the bottom a new project, and we're just going to say, I don't know, WHS test. Okay, now I've got a project built for that, and when I click save, or excuse me, when I click enter, all right, that makes a new project. Think of this as the folder that you're going to store things in. I'm going to click on WHS test, and you'll notice that location has now changed. Now I can say my file name, and we're just going to call this 123 block, and then I can hit save. And now if you look up at the top, it says 123 block version 0. Fusion saves everything automatically, although if you've got finicky internet, my suggestion is on occasion, click that save button again. However, usually it will carry everything over. That is a nice feature. You don't have to go through and hit save every so often. The next thing we want to do, and I'll be honest, I forget to do this a lot of times, is we don't want to build everything underneath this header right here in our menu, okay, in our timeline. All right, we want to create a component to begin. So I'm going to choose new component first. That's very similar to part. So I'm going to choose 123 block is what I'm going to name this, even though we already have one up there. And maybe I'll put base. I'm going to click OK. And you'll notice that dropped down underneath our main project right here. This is super, super important. If you don't do this, you're going to run into problems. And trust me, I've spent plenty of time fighting with that. Once you get in the habit, it won't be a big deal. But make sure that you're making a new component right out of the gate. From there, it's going to be very, very simple, much like you have an Inventor. All right, jump to the next tutorial, and I'll run you through how to do